That's our crowd out here. You know, I thought that Biden made a very strong point at the end of the debate. I thought the debate really caught alive in the last few minutes when he said Vice President Dick Cheney is one of the most dangerous people in the history of America, whereas Governor Palin said she wants an enlarged constitutional role for the vice presidency. I've never heard anyone seek an office and then ask to have its powers increased on their watch. That's extraordinary. She wants more legislative power for the vice president. That requires some more exploration by the press. The other big news she made tonight was she's not going to do many more serious interviews like she did with Katie Couric. She said, I don't want to have to filter of the mainstream media. Wow. Not only did she say I'm not going to do any more interviews, it seemed, but she was saying I'm not going to listen to Gwen Eiffel tonight. She said I'm not going to give the answers the moderator wants to ask for. What an extraordinary statement. I'm not going to play by the rules, and when I get elected, I want more power in the office than it's had before. Not too much humility here.
Chris, let me ask you about presence on the stage and the ability of both these candidates to connect to voters at home, undecided voters, right, independent voters. You alluded to this. Governor Palin had presence. She had an object in mind of what she wanted to do. She clearly had talking points she wanted to get to. She didn't demonstrate a lot of nuance on the policy of the Israeli-Palestinian dispute and the Bush administration's approach to that. Instead, she focused on support for Israel. She had some clear talking points with regard to the war in Iraq or conditions in Afghanistan. She had a game plan here which included, in effect, answering those questions that she wanted to answer.
Well, yes, but if you think about it, David, you know foreign policy, and Andrew's coming here in a minute. Imagine moving the American embassy to Jerusalem and expecting the existing pacts between Israel and the government of Jordan and the Egyptian government to stand. I think she would cause those relationships to quake in their boots if we were to move that embassy officially to Jerusalem. So I don't know who she's listening to, probably Randy Schuneman here, but that's an extraordinary proposal to make at a night like this. Let me bring in Andrew. What do you make of that? I mean, we have been careful for ever since the creation of Israel to be very careful about our position about where to place our embassy, etc.
Well, every once in a while in an election year, politicians from both parties embrace this because they are making a rather blatant appeal for the Jewish vote.
And a dangerous one in the region.
And it can be very explosive in the region. You know, I agree with you and David in that she came with a game plan, and I thought she did a good job of sticking to her game plan. What still is to be tested is to whether that sold, whether that went over with the voters, the viewers. Because she didn't answer the questions, and in fact, she would say, I want to talk about taxes, which hadn't even come up.
Right. And she responded to what he said about taxes, and he hadn't said anything about taxes.
So she would raise her own question and answer it, and the format, I thought, frankly, was very limiting, because the way it was interpreted by the debate commission and about the way it was structured, there wasn't any challenge to her. No one said, you're not answering the question, and Joe Biden chose not to say that to her as well.
I agree with you completely. And I think, David, it's going to be interpretive on the part of everyone watching right now who has watched for an hour and a half. Either you saw her as a very effective communicator. I mean, she went to the point of saying, can I call you Joe, as she walked out, immediately establishing the icebreaker, they call it in public speaking. And then being very effective at winking at the audience a couple of times. She winked at her husband. She winked at us a couple of times. That was a real sign of Reagan-esque comfort. But for a while there, I thought I was listening to a person recite to the point, and I mean recite speech parts, to the point I thought I was watching a spelling bee. It was so reciting, so automatic. It sounded like a spelling bee where you read each word out, you recite the word, give the spelling, give the word back again, exactly the way you were taught. I think it sounded a bit automatic, but let's leave it to the viewers. Some people might find that bracing.
All right.